What's the silliest way you managed to get laid? One night during a party in a friend's house I met a girl. We talked and laughed for a while and then went to a more private room and made out for a while. It seemed like it could end with sex. I just had to don't say anything stupid. But of course I said something stupid. Being quite drunk and all. I said to her, spoiler alert, in a few seconds I'll put one hand under your dress and touch your boobs. I knew immediately it was a very silly and stupid thing to say. But I don't know why, but it did in fact work. She laughed and said I don't mind spoilers. So I put one hand under her dress and touched her boobs. And after a few seconds she said I'm more of a jump scare fan, and then she grabbed my crotch. It was certainly a surprise, but a very pleasant one. We didn't wait much longer before taking off our clothes and having sex. It was the silliest seduction I have ever attempted. Haha. Silliest seduction method was talking to a girl I knew for a while at a college party my senior year, and we were pretty drunk. She mentioned how she was hungry, and I, feeling pretty emboldened by liquid courage, offered her to have some of my ethnic sausage. Yes, I know, kinda crude, but I was expecting it to be a Hail Mary, where either it would either work or at worst, I get slapped. To my surprise, she found it really funny, laughed pretty hard and agreed. And no, she did not try to bite or eat me, as that's a different story, though would have been ironically funny. The silliest thing I did to be silly, but somehow surprisingly worked in seducing a girl, was from a photo bomb. Again, young drunk me likes to be an arsehole and play around when people try to take photos. Usually, most people find it hilarious, some get annoyed. But this one time at a bar, a group of girls were trying to take a selfie and I snuck in to take a nice photo of them. Some of the girls were annoyed, but one of them thought it was hilarious and that I did a great photo bomb. She was really cute and we ended up talking for the rest of the night and hitting it off. Was at a karaoke bar and had been talking to this girl for a good half hour or so. She was a theater major and said that if I could impress her on stage she'd think about going home with me. I'm a pretty stocky guy, so I went up there and sang Part of Your World from The Little Mermaid with as much passion and flair as I could muster. Ended up having a pretty solid night with her. This girl I was friends with in high school wanted to hang out once. I wasn't attracted to her very much, but me being a teen made me lust for her. We were hanging in my room when we started to talk about the weight she has gained. Her telling me it's gone to her boobs and butt. With her butt she stood up to show me and I DK what told me, but I instantly grabbed her butt. Once I did that you could feel the tension in room and we both wanted it. Things led to another and I got laid. My time to shine. So I went out drinking with a friend, and after midnight of quite uneventful evening we went to see his 3 girlfriends into a bar. The 2 girls were weird and annoying and I was not in a mood for trying to impress them or whatever. The 3rd girl, hot, was silent the whole time, quite tipsy, and was doing a crossword puzzle. Without words I just sat next to her. We shared a look. Then she kept going for the crossword puzzle. Every time I knew an answer to something I took the pen and wrote the word into it. After about 15 minutes of this she took my hand and said, "Let's go home." I said okay. That was the only thing I said to her until then. Took a cab and yes, sex was had. Was a good night. This is sort of a comedy of errors. I was dancing with a girl at a frat party. She was wearing this club dress with zippers all over it in odd places. I figured the zippers were fake and thought it would be funny to unzip them while we were dancing. So I reached up and zip, and a boob popped out at me. Not only did the zippers work, she was not wearing a bra. In a heartbeat, trying to recover from my mistake, I tried to zip it back up. Some tiny part of my brain realized this was a bad idea, because, nipple. So my other hand shoots up to save the day and tries to poke her nipple back in. So I shut the zipper as much as I can, but now 2 fingers are a bit stuck inside her dress, pressing her nipple. Yes, I did not pull them out, just zipped right up to them and they are stuck. I do want to pull back because something might rip or get exposed again. Can't unzip because back where I started this mess. At this point I just looked at her face and I must have had the most helpless idiot look. She is pretty angry. I blurt out, I swear, I thought they were fake. The zipper. I meant the zipper, not the tits. The tits are fantastic. Clearly not fake. I mean, I'm sorry. Oh duck, it just kill me now. She laughed so hard. I thought she was going to pass out. After what felt like 10 minutes she finally reached up and unzipped enough to free my fingers. I just kind of stood there like an idiot and kept trying to apologize. She must like idiots. Later that night I got to unzip the rest of the dress. A girl I was seeing had a small get together at her house and we were drinking in her hot tub. As the night went on people started leaving, so there were only 5 of us left in the jacuzzi. The girl I was dating decided to take body shots off of her friend, like down her lower back so her face was planted between her butt. She said don't go getting a boner on us and I said too late. Well, her friend Brie asked if she could see it and Madison said sure, but no touching. So I pulled it out of my swimsuit and had a pretty massive erection inches from their faces. She liked what she saw and snuck into the bathroom when me and Madison showered and asked if she could join. We ended up having a threesome that night and a game the next morning. At a work party this French girl said I looked hot. I tried to reply thank you very much, which is merci beaucoup. However, you have to be careful pronouncing it, as I found out that I was pronouncing it more as merci beaucoup, making it sound like the French translation of saying thank you. Nice, but she got a good laugh out of that. Later on in the night she just hopped on top of me and the rest is history. Me and my best girl friend were smoking weed. For her the first time. I've smoked before, but it must have been 2 years since our last touched a joint. We were smoking on the balcony. It was a warm summer night and laughed our asses off, obviously. Eventually, we went inside and just watched TV. All of a sudden, she asked if I ever got a BJ. I replied with yes, and asked if she ever gave one before. Her answer was no, on which she immediately went down my pants and went all on it, without warning. I could not believe what happened, but we ended up ducking for over 2 hours. When I was a teenager, there was a woman on the same crew as me. We were having drinks after racing and the pee bladders kicked in. Ended up on the same pee cycle. Joked with her that I might as well just go in with her. She says what's stopping you? Ended up having sex in the bathroom. She lived a half mile from there, so that was just the appetizer. In a self-guided algebra class freshman year of college. Turn to a new chapter. Sets, relations and functions. Read the title to the girl next to me, and said, I'd like to find a girl with a good set I could relate to and function with. She said all you have to do is ask. We hooked up that afternoon. Knew her for a long time. Saw her at a party and gave her my number for an unrelated and innocent reason. She sent me a text so I had her number. Obviously knowing who it was I responded, who is this? She replied with her name. I responded with are you hot, and she sent a picture without a shirt on but with her arm covering her boobs. I proceeded to pretend I was more drunk than I was and asked her to drive my truck home for me. She told her friend to drive her car home and she would see her in the morning. Score. I went to this dance club with a buddy once. Out of nowhere they cleared the dance floor for some random game. They brought this girl out onto the middle of the dance floor wearing t-shirt with the word egg on it. Then the DJ goes around picking random guys to stand around the edges of the dance floor. I was one of those guys. There was about 10 of us. Then they proceed to hand us huge trash bags and put them on us like a giant shirt, and they had the word sperm on them. So, we had to lay on our backs, and only using our shoulders. We had to scoot to the middle of the floor to the girl egg. The first person there won tickets to some other show. Anyways, yours truly wins the game and they tell me to go to the DJ booth to collect my tickets. I walk across the floor and as soon as I stepped off the dance floor, me and this girl lock eyes. She was laughing at me, as was everyone else, and I offered her a drink. 2 hours later we were banging at her brother's apartment. Crazy night. One of my co-workers, were good friends and had hanged out after work a few times, was telling my other co-worker about how she's tired of being a virgin and just wanted to lose it already. I started laughing because I couldn't believe she was a virgin. She had a steady stream of boyfriends, was insanely hot. She was a model and competed in pageants. She was a massive flirt. Anyways, she starts swearing up and down that she is and my other co-worker vouches for her, so I'm like, oh nice. She then asks me if I want to take her virginity. Obviously I didn't duck and say no. It was just a one-time thing though. Suggested a game with co-workers over who could drink their wine the most seductively. As we got more drunk we spent more and more time staring into each other's eyes, and we ended up in bed together a couple of hours later. My now wife and I were at a party in our early 20s. We were all sitting around on the floor talking, laughing, having a great old time. I happened to mention I had on boxers that had old school personal ads you used to see in the paper. Well, one thing led to another and my pants were somehow undone and she, my future wife, proceeded to read my boxers while I lay on the floor drunk, under a fish tank I think. One thing led to another from there. Walked to a girl at a party and said, "Come with me if you wanna live." She played along and acted all scared. The best part, I called her Sarah the whole time, and when she asked me what's my name I said T900. When we split at night I said I'll be back. I actually pulled a Shermanator. God, I'm old. I'm a married mom in my 30s. My hubs and I have been together for 9 years. When I noticed we were getting a bit stale because of work, kids, life, I was determined to not let it happen. When I put the effort in to wake him up with a BJ, hop into the shower with him for a morning quickie, naked selfie or seducing him over text, etc. He put in effort as well, and it's like we're dating all over again. Life is fucking hard, but you have to put in effort to not let your marriage/sex life become boring if you truly love the other person.